Hello, I'm Carol MacDonald. The title of my thing is Line Pattern Process, Where Life and Art Intersect. I love routine, to get up and do the same exercises every day, eat the same thing for breakfast, practice my cello, go to the studio, knit, brayer a plate with ink. So we'll get started here. I hope this is the right, yes, okay. So in 2007, I spent a month at the Vermont Studio Center exploring a new body of work based on the process of knitting. I had started to knit again after many years and was interested in the patterns and tactile repetitive process of knitting, as well as the visual potential for the imagery. As an artist who thrives on routine and a printmaker steeped in the repetitive process of creating prints, it was fertile ground to dive into and has sustained me for many years. In this work, I often knit to print, pulling prints from the fabric that I create. This piece here is actually a drawing, though, where I worked with a piece of graphite and figured out how to draw the stitches by controlling the pressure and direction of the pencil mark. So I've really explored in many ways, both printing and drawing. This is actually pen and ink, where I start from the bottom, cast on the stitches, and then work my way up, back and forth, the same way that we do when we knit, following that simple line. This piece is, sorry. This piece is 26 by 66 inches, so it's very large, really expanding the stitches. And the stitches are actually just made with ink on a plate. This is the same process. So it's really manipulating the ink and forming those stitches in that way. Here I'm really thinking about the different states and how that mirrors what it is to be human, to be tangled up or disorganized, to come into structure of order, like a skein, and then to transform or to create something new, to actually take that yarn and knit with it. And here, of course, is much of how I'm feeling as a result of this election, a little bit falling apart and the disintegration of 8 years of, I think, very good work. But that coming apart, transforming again. Here, so in knitting, one of the things that we do is you can unravel things. So if you make a mistake, you can go back, unravel to where you've made your mistake and then re-knit or take a new direction. And in this piece, I really like the memory of the stitches as they've been unraveled. This piece, I actually worked printing with a sweater, the whole sweater, to create this structure of a vessel. So if you look at it, you can actually see the neck and the sleeves and the body. This piece was created using a large piece of fabric that I had knit with paper yarn, inking it with different colors on each side and then forming it and printing it. And I like the way that this becomes a structure and has sort of a three-dimensional feel. So here I'm going into the ocean, thinking about being underneath the waves. And I've knit lace to create these patterns. One of my first experiences of really falling into routine and pattern was when I joined a swim team when I was about 12. And I could spend hours and hours swimming laps and practicing flip turns. So that idea of process and repetitive process and being lost in that, I think, really came from that experience. This again evokes the beach we go to the ocean every summer, and I swim every morning before breakfast, usually for about a mile, out in the ocean on my own, no lifeguards. It's about 10 years ago, I decided to learn to play the cello. I had played the French horn in high school and a guitar, but never a bowed instrument. It's been an incredibly humbling, hard, frustrating, and very rewarding practice. And I've become very interested in how our brain integrates new information and the way that music has affected my work. Some people go to grad school. I decided to learn the cello. This is a 23 by 36 inch linoleum block print, a 3-color reduction print. It took me weeks to carve the blocks to make this print, really exploring again the structure of these stitches. And then most recently, I've been working with that same block, but printing it in one orientation and then changing the orientation and color and overprinting and blocking places out so that the underlay of color and textures are coming up. Doing some collaging, finding where pieces fit in with what's below. And I'm really sort of excited about the color and the direction that this work is taking. The stitches seem to be taking on a life of their own. And for me, these actually have a lot to do with music, pattern, rhythm, color. And so we'll see where they will lead me from here. Thank you.